It has been a couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you guys change it while I was gone?
Yes. Twice.
Twice?
Because we figured you'd come back.
Right.
And we would
then
have
yeah.
You would check. We assumed you would check,
well,
so we changed it twice to make sure that you failed. Welcome back. We've missed you, Dan.
I didn't check. I missed you guys.
It's good to have you back. We should plan pranks like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I can remember my high school graduation prank.
Yeah.
How to explain this without incriminating myself in criminal actions?
Your cousin.
My cousin, this guy I know, his name's Frankie Link. The Frankie Link is his name. Without getting too deep into it, basically, you got your school resource officers, you got the mall cops who watch the school and all that kind of stuff in high schools and whatnot. And sometimes those mall cops can be dicks. Yeah. Sometimes they can be a little rude. Mine wasn't.
Yeah.
All right, guy. But want to play a prank on him. So without fully incriminating myself or explaining how it happened, we'll put it like this: those mall cops, they get those little scooters, those little go-karts.
Right.
Did your school officer have like a little golf cart go-kart thing?
Mine did.
No.
Did?
Yeah, they did.
Excellent.
Ours was a tiny guy, so we
really
didn't have. Well, I mean, our high school, not our officer.
Oh, that's what saying. You have school resource officer instead of a go-kart. He has like just a little scooter. Gets around on a scooter.
One of those little Shriners.
Yeah, just oh, look at him go. Oh. No. Well, yeah, ours had like a little golf cart that got around. Right. It had like a little fleet of them, but he had a favorite one. And like I said, without explaining how, without incriminating myself in any way, we'll put it like this: the last day of high school for seniors, because we got to stop the school before everybody else. It was great. His golf cart was on the roof of the school.
Huh.
I'll let you figure that one out on your own. But I'm told his reaction was
priceless.
Just one for the record books.
You weren't around?
No. I remember this is the Frankie Link, of course.
Oh, okay.
It was the Frankie Link.
So your cousin wasn't around.
Yeah, my cousin Frankie wasn't around. Yeah,
fair.
How that happened, I don't know, but it did. Fair. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 219 of the Planet Destiny podcast, where we talk about potentially illegal pranks pulled on school resource officers in the United States. You knew what you were in for when you clicked on this. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to see you guys here. In particular, Mr. Danfinity. Welcome back, man.
Hi, thanks. It's been a couple weeks. It's been a nice couple weeks, but glad to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. The show falls apart without you, man.
That's not true. You guys did fine. I listened to the audio
a little bit. Yeah, well, I'm glad you appreciated that. Blind, thank you so much for the editing work on that.
Yes, thank you.
You're a great dude. Fantastic work. So welcome back, Danfinity. Mr. Nim Plays. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How's it going?
Oh, just another week, another weekend gone, and another week full of work getting ready to start back up. Oof. Right. Never ends. But at least we've got some new stuff happening in Destiny sometime soon.
At some point.
At some point. Might be getting a little hot in the world of Destiny sometime soon. And we're certainly going to be talking a lot about that on tonight's show. And of course, my name is the Black Link. Welcome back. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, because we are here to talk about some interesting stuff going on in the world of Destiny 2. In particular, Solar Week is a thing.
Guys,
he said it. He said it, Dan. It wasn't me.
He said it. He told you not to say it.
I did. I told him not to say it, but the debate was right. I wanted to say it.
Well played.
Yeah, Solar, that thing, from like a summer, like last summer or whatnot, when everybody was like, when's Solar Week happening? Because Solar Week's supposed to be a thing, right? It's totally a thing that like Arc Week back in spring,
absolutely.
That week that was supposed to totally be an event that, wound up being more than just arbitrary class changes. Sometimes this community. But yeah, we've got some major solar changes coming to the game, in particular to some of the big solar subclasses that we'll be seeing. I think they said next season, right?
Yeah, sometime next season.
Sometime next season. I'd imagine it's probably going to be at the drop of next season, which right now we don't really have a hard date on, but it's speculated to be sometime around December 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do believe game files right now show that the current season of The Undying is supposed to end around that time. So we're expecting the drop of season 9 to be somewhere around December 10th, which would be kind of in line with the previous DLC or winter DLC releases, Curse of Osiris and Black Armory. Both of those dropped the very first week of December. It was like December 4th and December 5th, respectively. And so I wouldn't be too surprised if we started learning about what's coming up next really soon.
Yeah.
Maybe not this week, because this week is Thanksgiving and we're going to be getting probably a very short TWAB, unless the community managers want to be dicks and make me work on a super long TWAB video. Please don't, Dylan. Please don't. But we should be learning about that stuff coming soon. But thankfully, in this week's TWAB, we got to learn about some solar subclass changes, which, brought on the whole Solar Week thing. Because, of course, the last time they talked about monolithic changes to a specific element, the entire community lost its mind and thought it was going to be like a DLC-styled release.
Well,
and boy, was it not.
Were they correct? Don't you guys remember when we got that huge update that was all Arc inspired? Remember that?
Yeah.
What did they do for Arc Week? It was the Arc class changes, because they did do, to be fair, they did do like one or two things.
They changed the singes for the Vanguard playlist.
It was all Arc, I want to say.
It was all Arc. It was the updates to the subclasses, and it was the Arc emotes that came out as well.
That was
right. Yeah. They did the Arc emotes and stuff. And everybody was like, great. What else you got? Is that it? Yeah.
There's some Arc bounties, to synergize with your
I forgot about those
new abilities.
Go do an Arc bounty for Zavala. That's content, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry, this time it'll be better. This time we're gonna have a new boss in the Vex Offensive.
Oh my god, Sean.
It's gonna be Ifrit from Final Fantasy.
I would take it. Give me my Final Fantasy crossover in Destiny 2. I'll fight Ifrit. I'll put on some Ifrit horns and be a little fire goat man. I'll take it. Something. Look, we've got to talk about Vex Offensive too, because we didn't get a chance to do that before. So we'll be addressing that. But right now, why don't we just dive on into some of these subclass changes? Because it's some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
In particular, we've got changes coming to the lesser used solar subclasses is what they focused on in this week's TWAB. We do have more changes coming that they didn't really elaborate on. But the three big ones are the Gunslinger's Way of the Sharpshooter, the Code of the Devastator for Sunbreaker Titans, and the Attunement of Sky, I want to say, for Dawnblade Warlocks.
Yeah.
We have got some absolutely huge changes coming to those three subclasses, some of which I'm really excited about. In particular, with the Gunslinger's Way of the Sharpshooter, we have got a brand new throwing knife ability and a weighted knife that's going to take a little bit longer to wind up as you toss it. So you're not going to be able to get that little quick throw off, but it's going to provide one-shot kill ability in PvP for precision hits.
Freaking awesome.
It comes back.
And it comes back. Getting a precision kill instantly restores your melee energy. Fantastic. It's about time, Bungie.
Wait a minute. Wasn't there a time in Destiny 1 where the throwing knife could one-shot into head?
Yes.
Yeah.
There very much was a time in D1 where the throwing knife one-shotted to the head, and they changed it. And I mentioned this really quickly on the TWAB. It made Holtzman sad.
Yeah.
is how I'll explain that. He was rather sad when they took away the one-shot ability for throwing knives. And I'm super happy to see it come back. That's a fantastic change here. What do you guys think of it?
I think it's a good balance of having a one-hit kill. I mean, First of all, hunters, congratulations! You got a one-hit melee again.
We'll see how it's balanced against the others.
It only took a couple of years, but you guys persevered, and now you know you can survive anything.
Yeah.
Dan's over there sad and just his little ball bouncing.
You got to bring up a man's balls on the show.
Context.
No, there's no context needed, chat. Do with that with what you will.
Criticize balls. Go ahead.
So yeah, no, it's pretty cool that they'll have that ability, because I think so far they've been the only one for like the past several years who don't have some sort of one hit capability.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good for that subclass. We'll see how viable it is against the other one-shot kill abilities.
Right.
Shoulder charge.
Well, I mean, like, because it takes time to wind up. I don't know what that means. Who knows what that means? So,
yeah,
do I have to hold the button down like a bow and arrow?
I have a feeling. I have a feeling that's what it's gonna be like.
Yeah. So that, I mean, it's interesting. I'm just in a wait and see mode on it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be good that we have one. I think a lot of higher skilled players are going to be able to suss that out. Suss that skill gap out much faster than everybody else. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way the TWAB describes it here is as a new ability, the weighted knife. High damage knife throw with a long windup. You're right. Who knows what that means? Travels at high speeds, bounces once, and does extra damage to the head. Precision shot final blows. I do like that too, because like get a bank shot into somebody's dome like we're playing GoldenEye 64. I see you, Bungie. I see the one dev who was there at Bungie who was like, how are we going to change throwing knives? Oh, I'm on it. DK, let's go get some research done. We're going to go play DK mode on GoldenEye 64, throwing knives only, and just get bank shots off the wall. I think that's pretty cool. That's neat. I have no idea how that's going to play into the game. Maybe you'll be able to play some corridor plays off of it, but I like it. I like that it bounces with full damage.
Yeah.
It's neat. And of course, like they said, it's a one-shot precision blow. Happy to see it finally happen for hunters once again. I never agreed with the change to that, because I think that's a high skill move. Granted, throwing knife does have a bit of aim assist tied to it, and makikaka a little bit. And it, throwing knives in the game also have bullet magnetism. So like sometimes you throw it over here, and it's like, we'll give you that headshot. We'll curve that into the side of somebody's head. Right. But for the most part, it's a pretty high skill move to be able to consistently get that off. And I like it. I like that it incentivizes you to get precision hits, to get that real quick kill, and then you immediately get your energy back if you landed.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's freaking cool to me. That's not where things stop. We also got to change to the perk Practice Makes Perfect. It now lasts longer, but gives a bit less energy per second. Precision hits grant 2 stacks. And as I recall, Practice Makes Perfect is that ability that increases your stability, something like that.
I believe so.
Gunslinger. I think it stacks up to 3 times, and it'll like increase your stability and ADS speed, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I'll take that for this tree. This tree was the precision hit tree for the super for Golden Gun anyway, so I think that works pretty well. Actually, you know what? I think I might be getting Practice Makes Perfect mixed up with the next thing, which is the new ability, Knock 'em Down. So look up what Practice Makes Perfect does, and we'll revisit that. Because I remember, you know what? Because Knock 'em Down is the one that increases stability and ADS speed. I specifically remember that because they added an old ability into that. As a matter of fact, let me get down here and read it. Yeah, Precision Final Blows increase weapon stability and ADS speed. This is the new perk, Knock 'em Down. Timer starts at 10 seconds, but any additional final blows and assists can increase it up to 25 seconds. Casting your super with this buff above 20 seconds consumes the buff and grants you extra damage. That's kind of cool. So basically, you get precision headshots. You're going to build up this buff that gives you increased stability and ADS speed. That timer is going to start at 10 seconds. At max, it's going to be at 25 seconds. And if you pop your super while that timer is above 20 seconds, it consumes that super, but you get extra damage in your or it doesn't consume the super, it consumes that buff, but you get extra damage in your super, which this is already the subclass tree that does precision hits with Golden Gun. So not too bad of a mix there. Although I do think they made the caveat to say that it doesn't work with Celestial Nighthawk.
Right. Yeah.
So L to that incoming cheese.
Practice makes perfect. Buff granted by Practice makes perfect, which increases super recharge rate, lasts for 1.5 seconds and stacks up to 3 times, resetting to full duration on each precision hit.
That was it. That was the thing that gave you a cooldown or reduced cooldown on your super. Right. And so they made it so that you get a little bit less energy back from Practice Makes Perfect now, but you build up 2 stacks instead of 1 for precision hits, not kills, just precision hits. All you got to do is get headshots, and you'll start getting your cooldown on your super a little bit faster, which I think that's a decent enough trade-off point. You get a bit less energy per hit, but or you get a bit less energy per second with that 1.5 second cooldown, but you build up your stacks, twice as fast. I think that's cool. Not bad at all.
I mean, with proper builds too, that's gonna stack up higher as well.
Right. Yeah. With the intellect builds that we have in the game right now, which by the way, that leads me to a bit of a tangent here. We're at the end of this season, basically. Sure. I think everybody, at least here on the call, is above 960 now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. With
maybe
the artifact.
Yeah, with the artifact. Yeah. So this is actually going to lead me to 2 questions. But the first is, have any of you guys bothered to make specific builds for stuff like intellect, strength, and discipline?
No. I just add intellect, strength, and discipline as I need it to the armor that I have already, and just move onward. It hasn't been, because the solar affinities, or like the elemental affinities for them, like I pay attention to that a little bit, but it's never. I don't find myself going, I must have all void or anything like that, like it's just what I have on. If it's my highest light stuff, I change it out as I go along. And I did on the front end kind of be like, well, I do want more discipline because I like Shinobu's Vow on Arcstrider.
Yeah.
And that's how I play. So like having a little bit more discipline on all my gear pieces allows me to have my grenades back faster. I have been using the Ophidius Spathe a lot more lately too.
Really?
With high strength builds, and so, or with a high strength mods, and so that seems to be working out for me.
So you're putting in the stats where you need it, as you need it,
as I need it, and it's like $500 per mod change. So it's like
a little expensive.
Change. Well, if you're going in for a while, then you probably have a lot of glimmer sitting around.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm almost never underneath 200,000. Thankful for that change, but I like it, Dan. That's basically the B- student approach to the new armor system, and it's exactly what I do. I found that really interesting. Because like we have the tools technically right now that we need to make all of these specific armor sets, and maybe someday I will. But I thought it was rather interesting that we're at the end of the season, and I haven't bothered to. I've got basically one set of armor that I use per character that I just swap mods out on. And that's it.
So I have masterworked exactly one piece of gear.
More than me.
And that was it. Any other masterwork armor that I have has come from the dungeon. And honestly, when I was trying to solo Pit of Heresy, that's the only time where I was like, all right, well, I'm using Verity's Brow for the Chamber of Suffering because I'm going to need grenade energy uptime at every single second possible. So I spec'd out for discipline there, but I mean, I didn't have a specific set of armor for it. I do what Dan does. Like, all right, time to swap out this fastball for discipline, and so on and so forth. But I mean, first of all, it's expensive to masterwork stuff, and I don't really want to put myself through 980 nightfalls for the prisms and stuff like that.
Boy. Yeah.
So I don't see a worth in really going any higher than 7 on a piece of gear.
Yeah. I don't think I've gotten any higher than that on any of my armor sets. I certainly haven't masterworked any of the armor in the game right now.
Yeah.
And
but I mean,
it bums me out a little bit.
I mean, I think that like at the end of the day, that's kind of like the point of it for the people that absolutely want to min-max their character. Yeah. They have that, that avenue. It's like, all right, well, I won't have to put myself through the hardest stuff to, masterwork all of my armor.
Right.
And they have that. And I'm not that kind of a player, so I don't need to again, put myself through that punishment. Yeah. That is a 980 nightfall solely for that. That's just not, as long as I can put increased reload on my hand cannon or my fusion rifle or a scavenger perk for PvP, I'm set.
Yeah. Right now, for me, it's about collecting mods more so than actually min-maxing my gear set. I want to make sure that I have the mods that I can put on the gear going into a thing. But it's somewhere down the line, I'm sure I will get a little min-maxy, but I don't. It's not right now. I think a year from now it could be.
Do you think so? Because we're at the end of not only like the first semi-major content drop in the first season of the this new year 3. We're at the end of it. A lot of that stuff is going to reset by the time that the next season comes around, because we're going to get a new artifact, new mods, and who knows if they're going to increase the power cap. So is that something that you really see yourself doing?
Kind of. I don't, because right now we're at such a small sample size for it, right? Like we've had 3 months in order to get the gear that we've gotten to this point. And so if you have a piece of gear that you're like head over heels about, then sure, like maybe you found, and like right now, the B- student thing for me is perfect because I don't delve that deeply most of the time into my builds.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have ideas for builds and stuff, and I enjoy watching videos on them.
Same.
But at the end of the day, you're right. The artifact is it's basically got to be the same every 3 months, at least when it comes to barrier and the overloaded and unstoppable stuff, right? They're just going to shift weapons. But I don't know. I feel like down the line I will want a PvE set, a PvP set separate. Yeah. Just right now is not the time.
Yeah. I personally can't see myself ever going full on for having a dedicated PvE or a dedicated PvP, because as it stands currently, if what we see now is what's to come, by separating the content that came from Shadowkeep and Season of the Undying, it'll be relatively light, because again, this is Bungie on their own. They don't, without the help of external studios. Right. So I'm kind of just prepared for the next season to be super light on stuff and not that's really how I feel too. Yeah. So I'm not really too concentrated on again spending time in those higher end activities for
for the time being.
I don't even know for the time being.
Yeah. Going for the Undying title, I put all that stuff on the back end of the season, which maybe shouldn't have done.
I got a lot of Vex Offensive to go through in the next 2 weeks.
See, I did that fine. I have to do one more of the Vex Offensives with our Lord and Savior, the Mind. But it's really it was the ritual weapons that got me for the most part. It was like,
yeah.
I got exit strategy and I was like, I never need to play Gambit again for the rest of the season. I can't for the next 3 weeks. And there was a guy that came into chat earlier today. He was like, I need help with Gambit. And I was like, no,
go somewhere else.
I'm done, dude. I'm sorry. I can't do it anymore. My heart hurts.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't like, I can see if it's a title or something that I'm really going for, doing that at the beginning of the season and then maybe doing the pinnacle stuff toward the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, as it stands right now, there were just so many changes that I was thrown off guard basically for the full 3 months. Like toward the end of this 3-month period, I've learned what I want to go for and how I want to go about it for next season. But this first season, I was just like, I couldn't focus on anything because everything was flashing lights. So
that's kind of how I am right now, or feel with Edgewise. So you guys know I spend time in Gambit. By the time I focused on the pinnacle stuff, I was literally, all I needed was just like a few more multi kills for the exit strategy. Like I completely forgot that was in my inventory. And then when I was like, all right, well, let's make progress on this for this title, I went to go check and I was at, everything else was completed, but I was at 139 out of 150 multi kills with an SMG. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh my God.
This is going to be cake. Momentum control made Randy's incredibly easy.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It made time consuming, but easy.
Yeah. It was definitely time consuming, but it was definitely easier. Getting the glory points as well was incredibly easier this time around.
Yes.
For Randy's. So
no doubt.
Personally, for me right now, Edgewise is just kind of like the one where I'm just gonna slam my head in strikes for like the next week or two.
See, I slammed my head into strikes first, and then went after Randy's, and then exit strategy. Just, I couldn't. My soul's broken, guys.
I can hear it.
Can't do it. I can't do it. I can
hear it.
Like whatever they come up with next month for the next 3 months, I don't know if I can. Like 3 weeks, I thought might be long enough, but it might be 3 months and 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's tough, dude. It's tough. I want to play the game.
Here's the thing with me. I haven't gotten any of the pinnacle weapons this season. I haven't even bothered. Yeah. I think I'm mostly done with Randy's, and I'm mostly done with the Gambit SMG, but not because I was grinding for them. Just naturally through playing. But I haven't really put any effort into getting any of them, and I have no desire to. I feel no real urge to go in and get the rest of those scout rifle kills for Randy's or I haven't even started on Edgewise. I don't think I've run a strike outside of a Nightfall at all.
Honestly, if it wasn't for the Undying title, I would be right there with you.
Yeah.
That's literally the only reason why I'm getting these weapons. And if I feel like it would be a little bit more enticing to go after these weapons if when you initially do the quest, they drop with the curated roll, and then they have the ability to drop at random rolls.
Yes.
After you complete them, because that gives it a little bit more of an incentive. It's like if you don't really like what the curated brings, hey, you can keep grinding this activity for a random, role that's going to suit your playstyle.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like the Randy's. Like since I've gotten it, I use it quite a bit. It might be the scout that I use the most.
Really? That's good to hear.
It's I like how it feels. It kind of feels like a D1 scout, which is exactly why I use it. But yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, so that all kind of leads me to the thought of we've got a couple weeks of this season left, and then a whole new season of content is coming.
Right.
And Nim touched on this a little bit earlier, but I do think it's going to be a smaller release than even Black Armory was at the same time last year.
It's $10.
I do believe. Yeah, it's $10. And I do believe that the level of content that we're probably going to see is something akin to the Vex Offensive. I think that's probably what's going to happen in this upcoming season. We'll get maybe one new activity that's very similar to Vex Offensive, maybe an event or two that's going to happen. We're definitely going to have the Dawning. That's probably going to come back as the winter event. And then that'll be it for 3 months until whatever happens in the spring.
Right.
I think where you're going to see your money spent is in the story of Shadowkeep pushing forward.
Yes, we are getting new story stuff.
Season. So
go on.
But
thought you had something to say.
No, I just think
I do, but I want to let him finish.
I just think that's where you're going to see the bulk of it, because that's the content that you get with Shadowkeep, right? This season of the Undying was free for Shadowkeep purchasers, but like, I don't know, it's interesting. I want to talk with you guys more about this at the end of the season.
Yes.
Like in a more structured way. But
absolutely.
I feel like what they set out to do, they hit the targets on.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And while those targets may upset some people,
there's no doubt they succeeded at what they were trying to do.
They succeeded in what they were attempting to do.
And see, here's the thing, though, and this is because Destiny is such a weird creature.
Yeah,
it is.
That it has seen so many different evolutions, right? It's a Pokemon that doesn't know what it wants to be.
An Eevee.
You know, yeah, it's a Pokemon. Destiny is an Eevee. Like, you know, we had its first incarnation in Destiny 1 under the big publisher name, expecting major releases every several months.
Yeah,
that was just not feasible.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, at the scope that Activision wanted. And it happened again with the beginning of Destiny 2, like Curse of Osiris and Warmind. Granted, they had their, you know, they had each DLC had their moment. You know, Curse had Eater of Worlds, and Warmind had Escalation Protocol. But now we're in a situation where Bungie doesn't have help from an external studio, so they don't. You know, a lot of people have been comparing the annual pass to Shadowkeep and Season of the Undying, and it's like, it's something that you have to keep in mind. They had help. It wasn't, and even at that, even with help, Luke was still like, yeah, this was hard on us.
We ain't got no time for this nonsense.
The annual pass was hard on them. So now we're going into this weird transitional period again. It's evolving again into in a sense where Shadowkeep is the beginning of this story, but it doesn't end in 4 missions. Like, it's going to continue as the year comes along, which I'm personally a fan of.
Yes.
And, you know, it even goes a bit deeper than that. Your comparison there with Destiny being like a Pokemon, specifically Destiny is an Eevee. I want that to be the name of this week's episode. Like, that has to be the name of this episode. Destiny is an Eevee. It goes even deeper than that. More so than I think you realize, because Destiny as a game has changed itself over the past couple of years. It started out as being a more heavy RPG style game. Then Bungie swapped it away from that to being something a bit more casual and just basically shooter friendly, almost like a hero shooter, like Overwatch. Now it's leaning back into that sort of MMO RPG foundation that the game was built off of. I would go as far as to say, while Bungie probably has a better idea with what they want to do with this franchise now, you're absolutely right. You know, it seems to be changing all the time, and they don't always have the resources to make a Taken King style expansion every couple of months. It's going to be smaller bits of content as the game slowly evolves into whatever it is that Bungie is looking to have it become.
Yeah.
And we've seen that. We've certainly seen that. Dan talked a little bit about it. I do believe it's probably going to be next week. We're going to have basically an episode of the show dedicated to reviewing. Reviewing, not specifically Shadowkeep, but the Season of the Undying, was it?
Undying.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's something that we should delve into a little bit more with community expectations in mind, with our own expectations in mind, and the goals that were set forth by the team through the director's cuts and the structure that they built before releasing Shadowkeep and Undying. So I think it'll be more balanced if we're able to do that. Do it that.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're looking at Season of the Undying by itself, like for the $10, and I made a tweet about this that got kind of hot. You know, for $10, you got the Vex Offensive, you got the three different weapons that were, of course, they're a reskin of the Curse of Osiris weapons.
Right.
You have
leaves for $10.
Yeah. You got the one new armor set, which the substitutional alloy, and then you got the three different armor sets. You know, one for each class, the plasticity phenotype, the exotic weapon, right, the Leviathan's Breath, Ariana's Vow, the artifact, the mods. I feel like that's a decent value for $10. Like that's a good chunk of stuff to do.
But it's diversified differently than how they had done previous seasons, which I think throws people off in the
again. Evie doesn't know what it wants to be, man.
Yeah, doesn't know what it wants to be. It's up to the trainer, as it were. But yeah, you know, I think looking at it as the microcosm of a season that it is, for $10, I would say sneak peek on what I'm going to say next week. I would say Season of the Undying has been worth the $10 that it cost to get in.
Yeah.
And that while not every goal was maybe satisfactory, Vex Offensive, we'll be talking about you in a bit. Undying Mind, we'll be talking about you in a bit, buddy.
Yeah.
I think Bungie, I think they hit the goals that they set out for. And we'll see. We'll probably be seeing more of that next season.
Yeah. So completely. Yeah, I think that's all in all what we need to be keeping in mind is that we're spending $10 for this stuff and it's going to go away. It is a finite $10 in the long run. And
like a meal is finite.
Yeah, when I put
this was worth
a happy yesterday. Yeah. When I posted the poll, there was a lot of people who said, yeah, it was worth my $10. There was I think 2% that said, yeah, it was worth my $10, but I won't be buying the next seasons.
Right.
And
that's fair.
Fair. And there was probably, I want to say it was 80% of people saying it was worth their money, 2% saying that it wasn't worth their money, and then the 18% that said no. I asked everybody to explain why it was or wasn't worth their time or their money. No judgment on my behalf. You vote with your wallet, right?
With your wallet,
right.
But they weren't explaining why it wasn't worth their money. And I don't know if it's because it was on Twitter where everybody could be or if it was if it
sound
was
effects
just
with Dan,
they didn't feel like they needed to justify themselves, which is completely fine too. But yeah,
know that when you don't justify yourself, your argument gets thrown in the trash.
Yeah,
you are perfectly fine saying I did not enjoy my Season of the Undying experience. It was not worth the $10. But if you don't tell me why, how am I going to take your opinion seriously? No, I didn't like it. Why?
You just know that the sentiment's out there. There's no feedback derived from it.
Yeah, I can't take your opinion seriously.
Yeah.
And man, just talking on the $10 thing, I compared it to a Happy Meal, and it's well, that puts things into perspective. This was the cost of a Happy Meal at McDonald's. That's a little weird. But,
if at that point you're not having fun with it, take your $10 elsewhere and be happy.
Yeah.
There's a new season in Fortnite starting.
Yeah, be happy. Just let others enjoy their. Yeah.
I think there are legitimate criticisms for Season of the Undying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lord knows, if anybody's been watching me, I've got them. I've got the criticisms for Season of the Undying. But like I said, looking at it as a microcosm of content, was it worth $10? Yeah, I got my $10 worth.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Expect more in the coming weeks on that front.
Oh, we'll be talking a lot more about that.
Solar subclass.
We didn't even finish the hunter changes.
We got off the solar train real quick.
I think that takes the award for the longest and deepest tangents we've ever had on this show.
That was a pretty good one. It was definitely a pretty good one.
That was a good conversation.
We'll take it. Yeah. Look at that sneak peek of the conversation that's probably going to happen next week. But diving back into the solar subclass changes for Hunter, I think the last thing there was line them up. There's a quality of life change coming from that. The old perks from Crowd Pleaser, which were like getting kills with Golden Gun dropped orbs. I think it was precision hits with Golden Gun dropped orbs of light. That's getting rolled up into line them up. So that's cool. I dig that. Additionally, Golden Gun, the 3-shot Golden Gun, which is, of course, the tree that we're talking about here, is curiously, and I don't know, my buddy Black Vox, he watches the show. He's got some opinions about.
I'm sure he's upset.
This is one of the times where I miss Aura because I know Aura has got some opinions about Golden Gun. But this one's for you, Black Vox. 3-shot is getting even more range and even more aim assist and even more accuracy when these changes come out.
It's going to be the Destiny 1 equivalent because it's very different.
Even more range and accuracy for Golden Gun.
Let's just put it that way in that kind of perspective.
That's what it needed, right? Like that's what that's needed. Now, in order to differentiate it further from the 6-shot, I think they lowered the damage fall off range for the 6-shooter. So like if you're shooting at a super, you might have to put an extra shot in if they're far away.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but, I mean, that makes total sense.
Yeah. So you can just sit there and spam that thing, fan that hammer.
6-shot is the last word.
It is the last word. And it gets the last word most of the time out there in super. But I thought that was a little interesting that the 3-shot's getting more range and accuracy. Because that's what Golden Gun needed. Oh boy.
Yeah,
moving on.
Yeah,
that's the class that's also getting an explosive proximity knife.
Yeah, 6-shooters. I completely forgot about that. They're getting an explosive proximity knife that's basically just going to be a second trip mine.
Yeah, but hopefully more deadly.
Yeah. Hopefully it does more than tickle the undercarriage. And like trip mine kind of does.
Look, man, you can't argue with results.
Back to the balls. Enjoy your ball there, Dan.
He's certainly having one.
Sunbreaker, Code of the Devastator. This is Big Hammer Boys, the middle tree path. That's seeing a couple of big changes, in particular with the super.
Yeah.
Your Burning Maul is going to last quite a bit longer, as I recall. It's going from like 21 seconds to 28, I want to say, which is
how much do you want to bet that that's going to be the next subclass people are going to start crying about?
Probably.
I already heard people talking about it in my chat. So
the super in itself is pretty damn strong. Like it's when I play Titan in Crucible, that's actually kind of my go-to super in 6s because it's kind of easy to shut down other roaming supers that you can hear them right around the corner.
Swing.
Hit that hammer and that hammer is going to turn the corner, man. It's going to do that 90-degree or turn and it's going to hit them. So having that uptime a little bit longer, oh boy.
Yeah.
Right. Looking at the changes here for Burning Maul, that's the super. They've increased the duration from 21.2 seconds to 28.5 seconds. That is much more time in your super. Believe me, 7 seconds is a lot of extra time to have in your super. That's kind of like, that's getting close to like what Night Stalkers used to have in the backflips. Yeah, that's getting close to the kind of time you used to have in that super. Additionally, they've changed the way some of the energy attacks work in your super. For your light attack, they've reduced light attack energy cost from 5% to 3%, so you're going to be able to use more of that. They've also adjusted the animation so that it flows seamlessly into chained light attacks without stopping. So more attacks in your super. That's cool. And for the heavy attack, what were you going to say?
I was just spin to win.
Spin to win forever. For the heavy attack, the ground slam attack now detonates when it detects enemies above it. Remember, that was the only way to escape that silly, goofy super, was just jump as high as you could, and you could be relatively safe based on the class that you were on. Not anymore. This thing is now going to detect enemies above you and blow them up too.
So it's just going to be a pillar of fire directly up into the sky.
Which is good. I
For
always
whom?
thought
I don't know.
Not for you, hunters.
Not for my bottom as a warlock.
Yeah, that's true.
I always thought that the heavy slam attack for that super should have been something akin to the remember the burning axe from Rise of Iron?
Yeah.
Remember how big the tower of explosion was on that thing?
Pretty awesome.
I always thought that's what that should have been for the burning maul super. So hopefully it's a little bit closer to that. But in order to compensate for that bigger explosive radius, the energy required to do that attack has been increased from 6% of your super energy to 8%. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Additionally, all in good balance. We'll see how big that detonation radius is when these changes go live. Looking forward to it. Additionally, throwing hammer has seen a change. They've increased the impact damage from 100 damage to 120 and increased the hammer pickup radius from 2 meters to 3.5 meters. They've adjusted the... Yes, thank you. Thank you. That was the one thing I was thinking of, just like, to me. I kind of wish that it was even further, so that, like, you could just see the animation of the hammer on the ground go like, whoop, and go back to your hand. That'd be cool. That'd be neat. But, an extra meter and a half, that's not bad. They've also adjusted the throw animations to fit a more damaging attack. I don't know what that means. I hope it's just like a big wind up baseball toss. I want to see it. Additionally, yeah. Just the grandma. Just do the grandma toss.
Yeah.
Tied in with this, we've got Roaring Flames changes, which I thought sounded pretty interesting. They've increased the damage bonus you get from Roaring Flames from 10% per stack to 25% per stack in PvP. Oh. And they've increased the duration from 15 seconds to 20 seconds, meaning you are going to get way more time and way more damage from it. For those who don't know, Roaring Flames is the Sunbreaker ability where hitting an enemy with your throwing hammer, I think, and then picking up that hammer triggers health regeneration.
Yeah.
So now, when you hit people with that hammer and then pick that bad boy back up, you're also going to get a pretty sizable damage buff, 25% in PvP. And doesn't it stack? Doesn't that ability stack?
Oh shit, does it?
Currently, it does.
Oh my god!
Currently,
25% per stack in PvP.
We don't know if that's gonna carry over.
I mean, that's what it says here in the TWAB. It says increased damage bonus from 10% per stack to 25% per stack in PvP. Oh my god! And you're gonna have 20 seconds of that buff in the Crucible.
Oh my god!
That stacks up to 3 times, because I don't remember how many times that stacks. If it stacks up to 3 times at 25% per stack, remember, throwing hammers also getting a base damage increase to 120.
Dan has lost the plot, chat.
Holy shit, dude! Yeah, there's gonna be some strength. Some people rolling strength out there.
There'll be some strength builds with the worm gods. Absolutely.
Oh, everywhere. No, you don't need that. That's overkill at that point.
Overkill.
No, you need it, Nim. Nim, you need it the most.
Oh, baby, no, you don't. Stop.
Like, who's going to need a super at that point? I'm just going to sit there and throw hammers at people. Just like, boom.
Oh, shit.
Looking like, spoiler alert, Captain America in the end of Avengers.
Oh, my God, it totally does says per stack.
Oh, it's gonna be bad.
Oh, it totally says per stack. Oh, y'all, baby, why?
Listen, y'all. If you were sick of shoulder charging Titans, L's for everybody in chat, because
this get cross mapped by a hammer.
And wait till you get cross-mapped by a hammer from a dude who's then gonna boost on over to you, pick that up, get his health back, and then increase that timer up to, what is it, 20 seconds? He's gonna have a 20-second buff where he can hammer bop the rest of your team.
Thank God One-Eyed Mask is going away.
Is it though?
Oh my God.
It's looking pretty nasty, boys. I'll take an as to cross.
And I was about to say you went full as to cross there.
Oh, it's gonna be nasty, boys. It's gonna be nasty.
Oh my God, it does says
I can't wait.
Stack.
It's not even a super. It's not even a super.
We're hearkening back to the days of early D2 when everybody was running double pulse grenade titans because that was super damage.
Oh shit.
Can't wait. Man, I don't know. Is that a typo? Did somebody forget that ability can stack?
Oh man, that's gotta get a swift nerf. Like the next season, just like we saw that some things were overperforming.
I give it 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I give it 2 weeks.
They're gonna complain. That's gonna be interesting. That'll be super interesting to see. I can't wait. I can't wait for that first week of Crucible where it's just gonna be everybody bonk. Ooh, good stuff. Watch your butts out there.
Hey Dan, you good?
I'm better now. Let's move on from Titans, shall we?
Let's move on. All right, because that was it for the Titan changes. Next up, we've got the Attunement of Sky, Dawnblade, seeing a bit of a change. First things first, we've got a change coming to Burst Glide in Daybreak specifically. No more Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't care if they fixed the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. You can't move that fast anymore because Bungie says so. They're nerfing that jump so that you're no longer going from 0 to 100 real quick in that class. You're going to be moving a little bit slower with Burst Glide, but in order to compensate with that, they've changed the way that Icarus Dash is going to work. You're still going to be able to do your aerial dodge in Icarus Dash twice, I think, in Dawnblade. How does it work in Dawnblade? Because I know you get extra ones in Dawnblade. I know you get more than one. But
I don't play Dawnblade well enough to.
Nobody played the subclass, which is why
nobody used it. You definitely get to use it more than once because it was always a good aerial option. But basically, they've increased the movement speed with Icarus Dash, especially in Dawnblade, so that you can kind of still reach the amount of speed that you can have as the Warlock AC 130. But you're going to have to use a little bit of super energy with that. Let's go into some of these big class changes here. First up, Attunement of Sky is getting a brand new melee attack called Celestial Fire. This is replacing whatever the melee attack is on that attunement right now, because I don't think it really matters. I don't know if anybody's ever actually used it. But Celestial Fire sends out a spiral of 3 explosive solar projectiles. Nim and I were talking about this a little bit before the show. I'd imagine it's probably going to work like the Chaos Reach melee works, where you do the little Emperor Palpatine shock and like it shoots a projectile out, except it's probably not going to go quite as far. And it's going to be 3 explosives that go out, which sounds really cool to me. I don't know about you guys. I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah, probably the only reason why I am considering playing as a Dawnblade is solely for that melee.
Yeah, it reminds me of when we were first learning about Nova Warp, and we started seeing the videos and the Vidoc come out showing charging the grenade and shooting the 3-hit. And I remember saying to myself, well, it's probably not going to be that strong in PvP. Oops. it was a little strong in PvP. So I'm looking forward to trying this new explosive solar projectile, mixing it with stuff like the Monte Carlo and the what is the Ankara grass or gloves or whatever those things were called that give you double
Winter's Guile too.
Winter's Guile.
Please, Bungie, buff Winter's Guile. Please. Look, you got Titans running around like madmen in this sandbox, throwing their hammers like the son of Odin, one-shotting people and getting their health back all over the place. You can buff Winter's Guile and make it a 10-second buff. You Come on. Give me the 10-second Winter's Guile buff. I need that Warlord sigil to last a little bit longer. Just a wee bit longer. But yeah, there's some interesting combinations that I could see happening with this. And shoot, even just with the Monte Carlo alone. Does everybody here have Monte Carlo?
Yeah.
Yep.
Isn't it amazing?
I like it.
Pretty great.
I love it. I love being able to just go out there, use my melee ability, kill like 2 things, and have it back. It feels good.
Especially with that Ophidia Space build. It's just, you're just chucking knives all day.
It's good stuff. And I hope that there's some real synergy with some of these solar subclasses. Because good Lord, let's say you miss your hammer in Titan. That's okay. Kill 2 things with Monte Carlo. You've got your hammer back.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, it's gonna be bad, boys.
I am excited to see what Devious is gonna do with this upcoming.
Oh boy,
that man is gonna go crazy.
I'm sorry, Captain Cosmodrome in chat just said the Titan hammer toss on 3 stacks is 210 damage.
1 shot, and that's a body shot.
Wait,
that's
currently?
A body shot.
No. with the changes that they are going to be implementing with the stacks of 25 times 3, that is 210 damage. So it is a 1-shot body shot.
Oof.
Can we get like at least like 2 more knives to shoot out of that?
The answer is no.
I need
no,
8 knives,
you may not.
please. Jeez.
Oh my, God forbid there be something like Thunder Coil, but with a solar equivalent. Next season's artifact.
Oh my God, no.
And you get a damage buff from One-Eyed Mask. Oh no.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be gnarly.
It's over for everyone. Oh my God.
Wow.
I wonder what solo comp is going to look like.
Oh Lord, he coming. The hammers, man. Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be delicious chaos.
I can wait.
You got 2 weeks, brother. Enjoy your time.
Yeah.
Next up, changes. They're reworking the Heat Rises ability for you Warlocks there. Now you'll be able to consume your grenade to extend your glide time and dramatically reduce the in-air accuracy penalties for weapons. This sounds interesting to me, but is one of those instances where it's like, I wish you would have given me numbers. Reduce the in-air accuracy penalty by how much?
Yeah.
What percentage? Because that's something that always really confused me. In-air accuracy has always been a contentious point in Destiny because it's always been the penalty for shooting in midair has always been really high.
Yeah.
Really high in the world of Destiny. And with it being such a vertical game, such a movement and jump heavy game, that always really confused me. So I'm really, especially when it comes to a class like the Attunement of Sky, which was literally built around being in the air. That's the entire gimmick. That this is the class, by the way, where you float in midair when you like aim. It always confused me that there was such a heavy penalty on in-air accuracy. So I'm glad to see that they're changing that. Nim, we'll see if maybe you felt the same way about this that I did. That whole holding your grenade to extend your glide time sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? Isn't
sort of
something that already happens on Well of Radiance?
Yeah, but I think the big difference here is that you're eating the grenade instead of holding it.
Yeah, which means this is going to be worse.
I don't know, because if if this works the way that at least I'm imagining it, it'll at least for comparison's sake, because I don't know. Yeah. If you consume the grenade, it'll give you the glide as if you were holding the grenade. Yeah. So if you get that reduced in-air call it accuracy, it should kind of like synergize with one another, which should be pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm assuming that this is going to be kind of like it's going to be a buff that happens. So like you consume it, maybe you get a buff for a couple seconds, and then when you jump during that, you'll be able to go ahead and extend your time in midair and get that increased accuracy. Because otherwise, I don't know if you're going to have enough time to do things. That would mean you're going to have to jump, then charge up your grenade, then try to do your actions in midair. And by that time, you've been a sitting duck for 3 seconds. You're going to die. So I'd imagine I hope you can activate it before you jump.
Yeah, most likely something like Devour.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I figured. You can do that with most other classes on Warlock right now. There's a way to consume your grenade, so I figured I hope it's going to be a buff that you can activate before you get in midair.
Feed the Void, because I was going through the subclass the other day, and I was like, wait a minute, Devour is the melee one. I've been calling this the wrong thing the entire time. Feed the Void is the one where you get kills with it. Anyways, moving on.
Even though they both basically do the same thing. They both just activate Devour for you.
No, that's Insatiable. Even I'm wrong. Whatever, man. It's Feed the Void or Insatiable. Whatever.
Right.
It's you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking
about.
Or.
Yeah.
I dig.
But looking forward to seeing how that's going to work, and looking forward to Fallout Play's inevitable video figuring out the in-air accuracy penalty reduction. Get to work, buddy. Next up, Icarus Dash we talked a bit about. I think they, just to give a quick rundown of that, that's what allows you to dodge in midair. Yes, Titans, we stole your Twilight Garrison ability. You've had 3 years to get used to it. Hold it. Bring that exotic back, Bungie, please.
Not only did we steal their Twilight Garrison ability, but we also took back our Blink.
We took back Blink. We beat everybody
about it.
Maybe someday you'll learn to teleport again. But with Icarus Dash, basically when you activate it in your super, it's going to take you super far and super fast with less super energy than it does right now. They did give us a note in the TWAB that because of the way Wings of Sacred Dawn works right now, it kind of does the same thing as Icarus Dash and all of that. So what they're doing is they're basically adding a 15% damage resistance while Tome of Dawn is active with Wings of Sacred Dawn, which basically means when you're floating in midair, which thank goodness, because it needed it.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Whenever you use any sort of ability that keeps you in midair, you die instantly, especially in PvP. You're just a sitting duck. I would actually argue it should be a 20% damage reduction.
Agreed.
Do that. I would be in midair all the time, considering it's an ability that only activates when you specifically put yourself into harm's way. It hurts being a floaty boy in the world of Destiny 2. But there we go. That is it for all of the changes that we have learned about. They go on to note in the TWAB that there are more subclass changes, including non-solar subclass changes that they'll be talking about in coming weeks. So hopefully we'll be learning about that. Maybe not this week, but maybe the week after that, since, like I said at the start of the show, clock's ticking. It's about time for a new season to start, and I cannot wait to learn more about what's happening there. They've talked about, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say they talked in previous weeks about changing up some quality of life things with Escalation Protocol and the armor for that. I'm super psyched to learn what's going to be coming with that, and this just adds on to the things that I'm excited about. I want to see. Show me.
So, you guys were also not here last week to talk about the Recluse and One-Eyed Mask changes.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So
that's a thing.
What do you guys, how do you feel about those? Nim, I know you've been talking about Recluse like it's been goddamn laser for quite some time.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
No, you ain't wrong. Definitely ain't wrong. I talked a bit about this during the TWAB video last week. I was expecting way harsher nerfs than what both of these got. I think Bungie took a remarkably even-handed approach when it comes to the One-Eyed Mask and the Recluse. And Recluse in particular, I've said it multiple times, that has been, in my opinion, overall, the best weapon in the game. 100%. Basically, since it was released. It's so useful in so many different things. It's a fantastic PvP weapon. It's a fantastic PvE gun. It's great in a lot of in-game content. It's fantastic in Gambit. The Recluse, if you don't have the Recluse, get out there and get this thing and experience it right now, because it is such a good weapon.
Get it now before the sandbox changes. Get
it now before the nerf, and experience why everybody uses this as a staple of their loadout in everything. It's such a good gun.
Yeah.
And the nerf that it got, of course, basically is they made one change to it, one very specific change. Right now, when you activate Master of Arms, it basically makes it so that all the shots that you land with the Recluse are crit shots.
Right.
Whether it's body
they do
shots,
precision damage.
Yeah, they do precision damage everywhere. What they're doing when they make this change in next season, they're making it so that you still deal increased damage when Master of Arms is active, but you're only going to get that crit damage if you land precision shots.
Yeah,
which I think is that was not the nerf I was expecting. I think that's a fine change. That works just fine for me because it means if you're landing your precision shots, the weapon's going to work just like it does right now. And they didn't, I was afraid they were going to do some harsh stuff. Like they were going to change the way Master of Arms activates so that you have to get a kill with like the Recluse first or something like that. I thought they were going to make a change to the timer on it so that like you have less time to use it while it's active. I thought they were going to do stuff like lower the damage output with it, which is what they kind of did here. But they, like I said, they were remarkably even-handed when it came to this nerf, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them requiring you to get precision hits if you want to deal the same damage you do.
And I think
change.
Yeah, I think that change is actually pretty great because if they were to change the way Master of Arms worked, then it just basically becomes Rampage.
Yep.
Because it takes away from what made it, special.
That's what I was afraid of.
Right. And as far as One-Eyed Mask goes, so the change to that is now, I believe it just gives you overshield, is it? No, what was the change to that one?
I don't even remember.
So I have it
was
up
so
right
minor,
now.
I don't remember.
So they removed the overshield granted from defeating an opponent that inflicted damage on you. In previous sandbox update, One-Eyed Mask received some tuning in how vengeance was applied to Titans. Next season, this perk will continue to provide health regeneration when defeating an opponent that has inflicted damage upon your guardian, but it will no longer grant an overshield.
No overshield. Right.
So
and
I
remember
still going to be strong.
Yeah.
And I remember people complaining about the wall hacks of the helmet. And here's the thing. I don't think there's a lot of people that know this. The helmet is designed, or rather inspired by, like, Jason.
Yes.
Like from Friday the 13th. So he kind of instinctually always knows where his victims are. The reason why that perk is called Vengeance. So getting rid of the wall hacks from that helmet would kind of go against what the helmet was designed around. So I think that's always just something going to be part of that particular exotic. Just don't push.
Yeah, and I would actually argue that that's the most useful part of the helmet.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. One-Eyed Mask is a ludicrous, in the grand scheme of exotics in the history of Destiny, it's a ludicrous bit of exotic armor. It gives you a damage bonus. It gives you an overshield. It gives you health regeneration, and it tells you where people are so that you can get your vengeance. That was really strong. I would have been fine if they had removed the wall hacks and left everything else alone. Yeah. And with this change, just removing the overshield, I think is okay because it doesn't instantly give you your health back. What it does is it starts health regeneration.
Yeah,
and the
Worm Husk.
Like Worm Husk does right now. And the killer there for One-Eyed Mask was always the frustration of you fighting somebody with One-Eyed Mask, them maybe killing somebody who hurt them, and then immediately getting that shield that protects them while they're healing.
Right.
And you basically having to go through 2 health bars to take this person out who now deals increased damage to everybody. And can see where, people who hurt them are, which is probably you in the scenario. That's a lot of benefits there. So them taking away that overshield, I think, is enough.
So they took it away from Titans and gave it to Barrier. Gave it to the Barrier Knights in the 980 Nightfall this week.
It's your fault. You made those Barrier Knights. But yeah, I think that was a pretty fair change to both the Recluse and the One-Eyed Mask, and specifically with Recluse there. I'm very happy that they didn't change the way Master of Arms activates or works. Because
Right.
I was so afraid of them doing to Recluse what they did to Breakneck.
Yeah.
Breakneck got jacked up, and Bungie, you should be ashamed of what you've done to that gun. It's bad.
Damn.
It's bad.
You good there, bud?
I'm fine.
Your camera on my end says otherwise.
It does?
Looks fine to me.
Really? Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, he looks
you a little spooked?
Well, he looks like a blob of green on my end.
Well, that's just look, man. It's just how I choose to express myself in this moment, Nim.
Are you
understandable? Have a nice day.
Is this what was that movie? They Live? Do you have the glasses that show you the truth on? Nim's just looking at Dan like, wait a second.
I'm seeing the real world as it is, Sean.
You're seeing the real world.
That would be awesome.
That movie was like the inspiration for The Matrix, by the way.
You know what this looks like? Remember when a VHS you needed to track the video?
Yeah.
That's what Dan looked like in my end. It looked like he was tracking.
So he's 90s VHS Dan.
Yeah.
Excellent.
There you go. Here's your face.
There we go.
There you go. All right.
But all right, those were the class changes and the weapon changes we wanted to talk about. Yeah. Let's talk about Vex Offensive real quick before we move on to audience question.
Okay. Sure.
Because of course, this has been we'll say a minor point of conversation in the community over the last week. Of course, this last week, Vex Offensive changed. The final assault went live. The Undying Mind, the assault upon the Undying Mind has begun. Was it the event you all expected it to be?
Yes.
To be fair, yes. Was I hoping for more?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I like that our answer was yes. It was every bit exactly what I expected it to be. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a really bad sign.
It all goes back to that $10 price point.
Yeah.
And like expectation, what was that movie that had Zooey Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it? There's a scene in there where it's expectation versus reality.
Right.
And it's like in the expectation section, he had just broken up with her, so he goes in, they hit it off, they're charmed, they're having a really good time, and she falls back in his arms. The reality of the situation. 500 Days of Summer. Thank you, Pins.
Thank you,
The reality of the situation is that she has moved on. She is seeing someone else, and he goes home alone. And so, of this, I think it's always going to be this way with this seasonal model.
Going home alone
is expectation versus reality. And you're probably just going to be sitting at home alone. And just like I don't think in a bad way in some cases. I feel like the execution of this, they made it an event on the calendar, which is why people got upset. Had they not said anything about it, right? Had we just seen the progression of the gate build behind Ikora, and then one day it just happens to be the Undying Mind,
right?
We would have been fine. But putting it on the calendar built an expectation for something that was other.
An expectation for something that didn't match reality.
Right.
I don't know, man. I feel like that should be on people though. Like having delusions of grandeur in that sense.
Yes, because
they never said it was going to be something big.
I agree with both. I think there's a lesson to be learned on Bungie's end about how to promote these things, especially when they're talking about an evolving world, because this is really the first that we've seen of this evolving world and how it's taken shape in this season. Right. But yeah, people need to lower their people were like, oh, they're gonna bring in the strike from Destiny 1 and
getting an Imago loop.
I'm gonna get like 10 Imago loops this afternoon, and like none of that happened, and so all of them were like, and they took to the internet, and
again, that falls on people though.
Yeah.
I think
because I mean it's very much titled Vex Offensive.
Right.
It's in the title of the content roadmap. It doesn't say Final Assault, The Undying Mind.
Did it not?
No, it does, but it has the nomenclature of Vex Offensive.
Okay.
So you should know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I know like a lot of people were expecting like something to be added to the loophole and stuff like that. And okay, sure, I can agree with that. You know, like a lot of people, for example, wanted to see the Imago loop come forward, and that would have been cool. Because that was that weapon was tied to that boss in Destiny 1. It would have been a neat throwback. But there was this one comment that I saw that was just a 1 IQ level comment. That was just like, just fucking copy and paste
code
for the Imago.
Yeah.
And I was just like, look, man, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Not exactly.
There are
more complicated.
There are animators, there are audio artists, there are, it's not as simple as just copying and pasting a code in this game. Like they gotta redo shaders, they gotta redo the texture, they gotta rework the stats because stats work differently in Destiny 2 than they do in 1. Now, do you want the limited resources that as is in the game focused on bringing back something old or working on something new?
I just think execution wise there was a better way to communicate that. And maybe it wasn't on the calendar, but maybe it was in the TWAB the next week. They're like, oh, be on the lookout for a new boss in the Vex Offensive next week.
Like they did with Escalation Protocol.
Yes. Because it sets expectations to be reasonably low, but it doesn't, when you label it as an event on the calendar, people expect more. And I think you've seen that from Anthem too.
Why? Why would you say that? Why?
Sorry. I just needed to do a random drive-by, okay?
That specifically.
I just needed to do that, okay? I needed to.
Of everybody here, the chat, and people that host that specifically hits me.
I just needed to.
This is the man who actually bought the fucking game.
Oh no. I just feel like my career just got ended. Good Lord.
Oh my God.
I love you, buddy.
Anthem. I hear they're working on quietly trying to revamp that. X. I'm pressing X on that. Big capital X. Bold. Italicized if you can. But in this instance, I can really understand. I can see where both of you guys are coming from. Nim, on one hand, absolutely. Part of me wants to say, y'all should know better by now.
It's in the title. It's
you all should know better.
Vex Offensive.
How many times have we done this to ourselves? You should know better by now to temper those expectations.
Yeah.
But same time, Dan, I 100% agree. The thing I say here is the only mistake Bungie made. This shouldn't have been on the calendar.
Nope.
Because putting it on the calendar, I do believe it is fair to say, sets an expectation. What was it sitting next to on the calendar? The dungeon.
Yeah.
Is it?
It was sitting next to the that's what's also there on the the content release calendar. So when you put that on the calendar, especially at the end of a season after the dungeon with this content build up, this story build up, I do think it's partially fair for people to have expected something more than the exact same activity with no change of any of the encounters. Not even really a change with the boss. The boss does the exact same thing as the Gate Minotaur, as Brothion or whatever his name is.
Yep.
Except this boss has kamikaze harpies attached to him, which cool touch. I was happy to see those come back from Argos.
They could have changed some things around, like maybe added like an oracle element
add an oracle
to it,
phase or something, yeah.
or like some things.
One of the things that I was saying is having kind of like the Nexus boss strike where you get like the shield, break the shield with the shield.
If they had just dropped the Vault of Glass relic somewhere in there and they're like, somebody's got to pick this thing up, get some kills, build up their super energy, and break that shield.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
By the way, it's under the dungeon. It's next to the raid challenge.
Right. So, that's
because it's a week later.
That's even worse. That means it's on the content release.
How? It literally just says Vex Offensive.
What else is on that content release schedule though? What's on that map?
Like everything else, like the hero, like nightmare hunts.
Right. Maybe some things need to be on the calendar. Some things need to be on the calendar, and maybe some things
that doesn't.
Bro,
maybe that evolution of that event doesn't need to be on.
I feel like that is like symbolizing that this is the end of what to expect from Shadowkeep in Season of the Undying, because nothing else is not gonna happen until whatever's next.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think the real reason they put it on the calendar was because, when it dropped, all of the other big bits of content were gone. They got to give you something to get you to continue playing until the next season drops in December. I think that was really the reason they put it on there. But all I'm saying is that I think it's fair when you have other stuff on the calendar like the nightmare hunts. That was a major change. Even the difficulty levels in those nightmare hunts are a pretty major change, and the rewards that you get from them. The dungeons on there, the raid challenges, that's all fairly significant content. So I think it was kind of fair for people to maybe expect a little bit more than just a boss swap at the end of an already established activity. I don't have a problem with the Undying Mind just being a boss swap at the end of that activity. Like I said, and when we all had the same consensus at the beginning of this conversation, we all expected that. That was 100% what I thought was going to happen. But I just think that was a tactical mistake.
To kind of like speak to RCA Gandhi in chat. He's like, oh, but bringing back the Vault of Glass relic with a limited supply of artist geometry, blah, blah, blah. We're saying that, like, what I'm saying is that on the calendar, if you set an expectation for an event, there should be a change. With this, there wasn't a change or whatever. They already have the oracles in the game. In our game, you really don't have to do too much about that other than the Portman and
you know what? Like it doesn't even have to be the Vault of Glass thing. They could have used the tether system from Garden of Salvation.
Yeah, they
could make it so that's the only way to. Oh my God, the totem's there, and you have to tether to the boss to break his shield.
But that
would have been something.
It would have been cool, but then again, like expectation versus reality.
Yeah,
and it's.
I feel like as a randomly like match made activity too, that might have been
just make it so that only 3 people have to do it. Just that only 3 people have to do it, so that the whole 6-man team isn't there.
Because there's like the 2 guys who know how to do it, and then the one guy who just keeps running by, and he's like, why can't I shoot my gun?
And the one guy who will follow everyone else around. So I think that something like that would have been interesting.
Yeah. So
overall, not surprised.
Yeah. Not surprised.
And expect more like that next season.
I would say yes. I would say expect more like that, but the money that you're putting in will probably be shown in Shadowkeep.
Right.
And whatever feedback you're giving now is not going to affect next season. At the earliest, you're looking at the season after that. At the earliest.
But still, yeah. There we go. Vex Offensive. Oh boy. Did everybody here beat them 3 times for their triumph?
I'm on my way to do it. I need to do it one more time. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I did my 2
Friday.
Runs and I was like, yeah.
I had all day Friday. I was like, oh, I can't wait to
run this 3 times.
Sadness. Because it wasn't available at all on Friday.
Yeah, some kind of crazy server issue, right?
Yeah.
Oof. Well, glad they got that fixed before this next week. By the way, before we move on, Iron Banner coming back this week. Final Iron Banner of the season.
Who's excited about it?
I feel like I need to add a crickets soundboard to this.
Oh, I can add that for next week.
Please do. I mean, I'm excited to see what they do next. They talked about reprising an armor set for Iron Banner. Mm-hmm. Again, expectations versus reality here. It's probably going to be a year 1 D2 Iron Banner armor set.
Dylan has already qualmed those expectations. He responded to someone on Twitter saying that the reprised armor set is not going to be an armor set from Destiny 1.
Okay.
So which means that it's either going to be the vanilla armor as a 2.0 set or the Iron Remembrance armor.
Yeah.
As a 2.0, because that's the only other one. The other two exist as ornaments variants. So
see, thank you, Bungie. Thank you, Dylan, because he saw that storm a brewing and he addressed that right now. Good. Glad to get that out of the water so that expectations will meet reality.
Yes.
Right off the bat. But either way, looking forward to seeing what that reprised armor set's going to look like. Hopefully
that's for next season.
Next season. Yeah, not this coming week. That is next season.
Just as a heads up.
Yeah. So this next week, get your pinnacles. Yeah. Because each of those bounties drops a pinnacle weapon. And get your enhanced mods from Saladin while you can.
Yeah. Oh, right. I should probably do that. I'm still missing quite a few.
Worthwhile. That's what makes it worthwhile.
Currently, yeah. I don't really care too much for the armor.
For now, and good lord, after you've gotten all the enhanced mods, because I think some of the like databasing websites have updated so that you can track the mods that you've unlocked.
Yes.
I mean, you can do that in game now.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in. You have a collections tab for your mods now.
Oh, awesome! I'm going to go in there and check that because once I got all the enhanced mods that I can get, what am I going to go to Saladin for?
Bye, see you later, Saladin.
That's it. Hopefully this stuff is worth grinding next season. But all right, was that it for the news? Is that everything we had to cover today?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
I believe so.
Right on.
Yeah.
Move on to some audience questions.
Yeah. We have from Butt Coffee 9. Do you guys think a seasonal title is a sustainable strategy by Bungie for keeping players engaged throughout the end of the season?
Honestly, yeah.
Okay. Titles? What was the question?
Do you think a seasonal title is a sustainable strategy by Bungie for keeping players engaged throughout the end of the season?
I think partially, yeah. As long as they mix it with what they're already doing, which is, adding some bits of new content in each season, and then tying a seasonal title, that's tied along with an artifact and stuff, all like that. I'll say now that we've seen the way the artifact system is going to work each season, I see the brilliance of it. I fully applaud what Bungie's doing here because they had a real problem before with arbitrarily bumping up the power level by 50 every season to give people something to chase. I think the artifact system is a fantastic way to get around that, and that's tied in with seasonal rewards and whatnot. And the whole premium and freemie season track. I think as long as that season track with that premium and that free track, as long as it continues adding stuff kind of like what we've got now, where there's armor that's tied to it, there's specific ornaments that's tied to it when you get into the levels above 50. There's an exotic engram or two that are in there, and then an exotic emote and stuff at the very end. Yeah, I think that's a decent enough reason. I just hit season level 100 or whatever, artifact 100 for or whatever this week, and it kept me playing. It kept me playing until now, and now we're at the end of the season. So,
yeah,
I think it's not a bad system.
I think the season rank is what kept me playing after everything was said and done. I mean, don't get me wrong. Garden of Salvation is a really great raid. I think it's in my top 3 for Destiny 2.
Okay,
I'm not too crazy about the gear. Not too crazy about the weapons.
What weapons?
The energy weapons that exist within the raid. Because that's all there is.
Only weapon I consider is divinity. That's the only reason to run that raid.
But I mean, realistically speaking, the season rank is literally the only thing that kept me playing. The armor looked better than, in my opinion, it looked better than the raid armor. So I have
it should have been the raid gear.
Yeah, I have no real reason to chase it. So that's why guard. I mean I've done Garden a few times. I mainly wanted to get it done was for Divinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that one time, Nim. I'm sorry about that. I was on
it. We don't talk about that. Yeah. And outside of that, I mean, nothing else in the game really kind of appealed to me in terms of, like we talked about earlier on, like I have no reason to run the 980 stuff because I don't really min max my gear. So that's all of that stuff is just kind of like whatever for me. So I don't know, man. We're gonna have to wait and see. It depends on what they can push out season wise now that they're the only ones developing it.
Yeah.
I think because I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This is probably like the least that I've been motivated to play. In a really, really long time.
Same. No, there's shoot, when I'm Destiny 2, it hasn't been the game that I play to relax and have fun, for a month or two now. I'm playing Monster Hunter or getting mad at Modern Warfare.
But these are things that make you feel, Sean.
Yeah.
Sitting there looking like Psycho Mantis, or no, I was sitting there looking like Cyborg Ninja. Hurt me more,
hurt me more.
Make me feel alive.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. I feel you, man. I feel you.
Yeah. I feel like the seasonal pass, it triggers that number creep that you like to see in looter games. And
right. It's what kept me going in Black Ops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's leveling up. Yeah.
Like it shows you prestiging, and it gives you a number associated with it, as well as like some sort of like level grind aspect to it.
Yeah.
I like it for that. I wish post 100 it would give you a cycle of planetary mats, Eververse Ingram.
It should be Eververse.
Yeah, it should be Eververse and Bright Dust every level.
Yeah, because, and I've got a bone to pick about Eververse, but it's a different thing than what I think other people are arguing. So you just need something else other than those Ingrams every 5 levels, because once you get post 100, then your motivation kind of falls off pretty hard.
Yeah.
Unless you're chasing something like a title. And where the titles sit right now, I think it's going to be, for me personally, I think it can be great for some people to go for that title overall. For me personally, it's really going to depend on what the title is and what it consists of. Because this season, the grind for me, I feel like some of the numbers could have been a little lower.
Yeah.
In a lot of regards, and some of the steps taken. Yeah, I feel like some of the quests just were overly long for whatever reason. So yeah.
I mean, the Vex Offensive stuff wasn't particularly kind of like monotonous after a while.
It was
like
brain dead,
especially like the bow kills.
Yeah.
Took a while.
Yeah, the bow kills took a while. Just everything just kind of took a while, and it turned into like, well, I'm just gonna shut my brain off. I'm gonna talk to chat, and run and do this, because why else am I doing this? And that kind of was how it became with Randy's for me too. Like I got the last 200 kills on a Thursday afternoon with my buddy McAnimals. And I was going through, and I was using 150s, 150 scout rifles. And it was fun to knock out like a few here and there, but it kind of turned mindless after a while.
It's just work.
Yeah, it felt like work. It didn't feel
just work.
Feel like fun. it felt like.
See,
all right, I'm clocking in now.
Like leveling up after 100, I feel like at least it needs to give you Bright Dust at the very least. Because I mean,
something.
after you get after you hit like 950, you're not picking up the bounties from the vendors anymore, like the weekly.
You
one.
aren't.
But I mean,
totally
what's the point of it though?
Just bright dust, honestly. That and to get the experience to push up the bar further, because like right now I'm at like 144.
Yeah,
like
that's a good point.
At the very least, I think you guys are absolutely right. They need to rethink their post 100 grind, because the people who are doing that, who are getting to 100 and beyond, are the absolute hardcore of hardcore. That's the people who are there to play this game as enthusiasts. And right now, there's not really much reward for doing it. I think more regularly, even if they did something as simple as going back to making it so that every level gave you a Eververse engram. So right now, that's not the case. That's not the case. I think that, or just like you guys said, giving bright dust per level, would at least incentivize me to continue leveling up past 100. As it is right now, I hit 100. I hit like maybe 103, just doing my Vex Offensive stuff and completing bounties for that. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done for this. I don't need to log in for Iron Banner this week. I don't need to go do anything else. I'm not really concerned with getting the pinnacle weapons. I'm not concerned with getting my title. I'm just going to go play Monster Hunter for the next 2 weeks until we see what's coming next. There's no reason for me to jump on. And I think that's something that they should probably rethink.
Yeah,
definitely.
My Eververse thing is just, I think the prices need to come down by like 25%.
I went through 30,000 Bright Dust between Shadowkeep launching and right now.
Yeah.
Granted, I keep buying everything.
Yeah.
Which again, expectation, reality, that's what Bungie was going for. That was their goal to get whales like me who have been playing the game since it initially came out and had tons and tons of Bright Dust stored up because of all the shaders, all the ships, all the ghosts, all the sparrows and stuff that I had. Their goal was to get me to burn that down. I have burned it down. I'm at like 2,000 now. I feel poor. I don't like it, but there does need to be a way to build that back up.
I actually spent money on Eververse because I was like, this is the first season where it's Bungie really by themselves, and I am going to support them. And so I put $30 in.
Ooh,
and
what'd you get?
I got the Hunter set.
That's a good set, dude.
That is a good set. The Warlock set is probably better.
I don't know. As a Warlock main, the Hunter set is hot, dude.
Yeah,
it's pretty good looking.
You guys, I don't like the cloak. I don't like the cloak at all. I hate the
cloak. Yeah, the horns, right? Yeah, the horns kind of kills it for me too. Yeah. But I love the fact that the Hunter set has more avenues for like that glow to come out than like the Titan or Warlock set.
Yeah,
not bad.
I do. So I
what
feel
else
like
you get?
I feel like I think I got a weapon skin. I think that was the only other thing that I was able to get outside of that. But it was like, so I put extra money in, and so that was my decision. That was my choice. I'm for it. I feel like the sting afterward, like after I looked at it, and I was like, I think like fairly they should come down a little bit more, because what I just said was like, I purchased something from Eververse, and you got like TBL's eyes just went, what the hell? And I feel like the overall resentment of Eververse is that the prices are pretty high. Maybe it shouldn't even exist in the game, is what some people say online, but like they need that money in order to push forward. And at Activision, like with Activision, I can see them needing a price point to be made per item. Now that they're independent and like, I feel like the prices could come down like just a quarter, like 20, I say just a quarter, but that's somebody's job on the back end there. I feel if they came down like 25%, you'd see more people purchasing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm more willing to like put in.
My buddy Ashen, who, by the way, Dan, I also may or may not have put some silver this past.
For shame
as well. I bought the chromatic fire ornament, the complex one, because that's hot.
Good looking. It's good.
That's
looking.
hot. I got the thornament, and I got the bygone skin as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, my buddy Ashen made a really good point a couple of weeks ago when I was playing with him. This was during like Festival of the Lost. He was talking about Eververse prices, and I never realized it until he said it. He's like, this price of an emote is the price of a whole season.
Yes.
Yep.
One emote equals a season.
The armor set for the Festival of the Lost was more than the cost of Season of the Undying.
Yeah.
It was like $1,500
I didn't get any of
silver.
Yeah,
Neither did I. I didn't buy it.
No.
I'm not paying $45 for a goofy looking set of armor. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And I never really thought about that, but holy crap, that puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
Even more so than the Happy Meal comparison.
Yeah.
A suit of armor costs more than the content release. What are you doing?
Yeah. And I feel like if the prices were to come down, you'd see more people purchasing stuff. And right now, as an independent studio, I don't know their finances, but I would think that they would want to maximize the ability of their audience to help sustain them.
Yeah.
At this point, help sustain development for Destiny 2.
Right.
Yeah, there are things I would legitimately buy, but it's for me, I'm not really a microtransaction guy. I've bought, I think, a total of one Eververse item in the history of this franchise, and it was the $10 Iron Banner slam emote, because I knew that was never coming back. And I wanted to flex it on people. But
in D1, I purchased a few things here and there, but it was never like it didn't feel stingy to me.
Yeah.
It absolutely did more to me there than it does now.
Yeah.
Because there it was just straight up a loot box.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't even have a chance.
No, it was straight up and remember trying to buy the Taken armor?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, dude.
That was bad.
That hurt. I spent a solid over $100 trying to get that Taken armor.
I will say something that I did like out of it from the Festival of Lost was toward the end of the festival, you could purchase the set for Bright Dust. I think it was 6,000 Bright Dust.
It was a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
Which is why you continue doing those bounties, Nim. And so
not for that armor, I'm not.
Right, that's true. But I don't know. And I felt like that was cool. And you could also purchase the pieces that you hadn't gotten from previous years Festival of Lost with Bright Dust as well. Right. So
that was actually really cool too. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are things they could do there, but I think a reduction in prices.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. Shoot, that comparison to the cost of the season is kind of blowing my mind now, Neb. I never really
dude. It was the gravestone emote.
Oh yeah.
Straight up the price of a whole season, dude.
Price of a season for an emote. It's maybe rework that store.
Ashen was just like, that ain't right, dude.
Yeah, that's a little messed up.
Next question from Mills. What new artifact mods would you like to see for next season?
I don't know, dude. There's a lot of different possibilities.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, I think they're probably going to be somewhat similar to what we've got this season.
Yep.
But just with different elements. So rather than Thunder Coil, it'll be like a Void equivalent or a Solar equivalent.
I would expect to see Solar, what with the buffs that they're going to be making to those subclasses. You're probably going to see some Solar.
Be prepared for the hammer, boys.
It's a sad reality. They can't do Void Arc all the time.
Yeah.
But you're still going to have the barriers. You're still going to have the overloaded. You're still going to have the unstoppable. Those mods will just move to different
weapons
characteristics. You know, maybe we'll see some stuff come back. Maybe we won't. But
right.
I'm going to miss the one that's heavy on finisher for a quarter of your super.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
That one's a good one. I like that one a lot.
Me too.
Hopefully they keep something similar for that.
Yeah.
That's pretty helpful. Yeah.
The entire last tree is pretty nice overall.
Unless you're a scumbag with Thundercoil.
What do you think the artifact would be? Like modeled?
Oh, definitely some kind of D1 reference. Just like the Eye of the Gate Lord for this one is a reference to the Gate Lord in the original story for D1.
So we know that based on the whiteboard that was briefly displayed on the Vidoc is that something's going to happen with the timeline in the game. Because there was a caption in one of the whiteboards that says fix the timeline. Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that was kind of teased as well that we haven't seen yet. There was in particular there was this really Vexy looking linear fusion rifle. So if anything, we might see a little bit more of like Mercury and Osiris again, especially when it deals with timelines, and we're pulling these undying minds from thousands of different timelines. Okay. So yeah, who knows what's gonna happen with that? Because I mean, it doesn't end here, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Story's continuing.
Yeah, the story's continuing. You know, as Guardians, we're just killing as many undying minds as we can. So we got to wait and see how that's gonna go.
By the way, speaking on that, something that I appreciated from Bungie but kind of chuckled about. So we know that there's been a bit of a rift forming within the Vanguard since Cade's death. Did you notice they just kind of threw that out this last week? Did you listen to Ikora's little talk at the beginning of the week? When you visit her, she has a little audio log talking about them finishing the Vex Gate and that her and Zavala have already gone through like 12 timelines and killed a bunch of undying minds. They're back to being besties. Everybody's besties again. They're back on speaking terms. Because remember, previously it was like, Zavala and I haven't spoken for a couple of months, since Cade's death. Now they're hopping timelines and bopping undying minds together.
It's been a year.
Yeah, they got over it.
They live in the same town. It's been a year. Get over it.
Yeah, they got over it. They're back to banging. We're good.
Yeah.
Oh.
500 Days of Summer ended very differently with Zavala and Ikora. Very different.
Wonderful.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
So what artifact mods would you like to see?
Honestly, I'm fine with the ones we've got now. Just swap some of the elements. Mm-hmm. I'm cool with that. I'll keep my answer realistic. I can't really think of anything new that I would drop in there.
Yeah, same here, honestly. Maybe I think if anything we might see just kind of like the same stuff just with different enemies.
Yeah.
And the last tree is
definitely with different enemies.
Differ.
Yeah. I could see scout rifles and shotguns, rocket launchers, and grenade launchers. Those are archetypes that hadn't been touched this season. I could see them adding maybe some stuff to those.
Real quick, this Sart in chat says it's gonna be a signed photo of Osiris that Brother Vance owes.
That's gonna be our artifact.
That's gonna be our artifact.
That's canon.
That would be great.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Osiris going like this.
10 out of 10 comment there. Those are.
Would a mod for rocket launchers make them viable? Mills, you dog.
No.
That's. I don't know, man. I'm not holding my breath for anything amazing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Much of the same, except for you're going to go back to your base level, and you're going to have to grind all that out over again. Enjoy Guardian.
Have fun.
Joshua JJB2. Hey, a stream team member.
Josh.
What do you guys think will be the new super meta when these super changes come into effect?
I don't think there's going to be much of a change. I mean, the hammer changes are cool, but that's not super. That's just normal melee in that class. The Dawn Blade changes are cool, but it's not really changing the way that super works at all. Mm-hmm. So I think it's still going to be a lot of Golden Gun and a lot of Shocky Shocks, a lot of Shocky shoulder charges.
Just bring
not going to change too much.
A middle tier Arc Strider. Just middle tier Arc Strider. Just deflect everything. That's what you're going to see more of. More people.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be seeing much of a change in PvP. Well, at least in PvP. I don't know about PvE. I don't really think there's going to be too much of a change there either, to be honest.
Yeah. We'll see.
Cosmos with the final question of the night. Will you guys be voting for Bungie for best community support for the Game Awards? Do they deserve it?
Oh, absolutely.
With the shit that everybody gives them? Yeah, they absolutely.
With all the nonsense they've gone through.
Jesus.
Over the past couple of years. Granted, a lot of it they deserved.
Yeah.
A lot of it they deserve, but like with the amount of work they put into stuff like Forsaken, splitting from Activision, and then when they had an opportunity, because believe me, they had an opportunity to split from Activision and be like, okay, we're done. We just got a $100 million investment from a Chinese company. We're going to go make a bunch of money making that game. They had an opportunity to drop Destiny and just be like, we're done with this. They continued on. They're continuing on with it. It looks like they're going to be staying committed to it. And to be perfectly honest, the change in their community communication and how they respond to the community and the content that they're putting out has been radical. They listen and they actually respond to stuff now. And they are seemingly dedicated. We've seen that with Shadowkeep. We've seen that with some of the changes that they've made over the course of this season, that they are dedicated to making the game that we all want to play. So, and plus, this community is incredible. Yeah. Absolutely. Shoot, we just had a charity that did how much?
Oh boy, that was like 1.6. Was it 1.6 million?
And this is like the 9th time we've done that as a community. Yeah. Destiny's got a fantastic community. I will 100% vote for
it. So, and Mills says just submit what they did on Friday as well in the ballot. So for community support, they are up against Apex Legends, Final Fantasy 14.
That's going to be hard to beat. Good God, Final Fantasy 14 is going to be hard to beat.
Fortnite and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. I know
that too.
Rainbow Six Siege has like added, I think, 3 or 4 more operators recently.
That has become such a sleeper hit because it came out a year or 2 ago and it has survived based off of community push. And it's really a fantastic game. If you're a fan of tactical shooters, it's a fantastic game.
And like Fortnite did the Chapter 2 like switch. All of these are good nominees. But yeah, Destiny 2 is definitely worth my vote overall. The community is great.
Tough category because like Fortnite, of course, is going to get all the kids support. They keep that up. Final Fantasy 14 is a juggernaut of community support. That game has been alive and kicking for almost 10 years now, and it just keeps getting better and bigger, and the devs are really responsive to community feedback. And Rainbow Six Siege is basically the same way. That's a real rags to riches story that the community is thriving in that game too. So there's some good competition there. But if you were to ask me whether or not Bungie deserves to be in it, oh, absolutely. They deserve to be mentioned in that, and I will vote for it.
Yeah. Do you know what game got the least nominations?
Mario Maker 2.
Anthem.
Oh, oof. 2?
None. They got none.
You're going to take 2 shots at me in the same time?
Yikes. Hey, TBL, how's it feel?
What did I do? What?
I've been gone for 2 weeks.
I feel like Dan is taking the shit that I gave him out on you.
Yeah. Just channel
Yours
it
is
into
coming,
me,
Nim.
man.
Yours is coming.
Oof. Big oof. Roblox death noise.mp. Now I'm getting it from Nim's dog. Now I'm getting it from Nim dog. I didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve this.
I love you, buddy.
I'm the only one here who plays Anthem.
I thought about picking it back up.
Don't. It's better if you can get it for like $10, maybe.
I didn't. I also paid full price for it.
Oh, so both of y'all got fucking destroyed.
Yeah. See? So it's not like I don't have skin in the game, Nim.
Ooh, sucks to be y'all.
I feel a little bit better about you taking shots at me now. That's all right, Dad. We're good. We're good, brother. One day, I want nothing more than for the reports that they're going through like a Division 1 style revamp. A Final Fantasy 14, since we're just talking about that, a Final Fantasy 14 Realm Reborn style revamp to make that game a little bit better. I hope so.
According to Jason Schreier, they are.
I hope so, but at the same time, it's EA, dog.
Is it going to be given the time
and the money
without microtransactioning the shit out of that game?
It needs it. It needs the time and the money, and that's a year.
Minimum. I'm legitimately surprised that they haven't shut it.
Yeah,
like that's honestly been. Just, I can't imagine the player base numbers.
Not good.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I was excited as fuck for this game.
And the base game is fun. It is.
It was.
Once you finish that story, once you reach max level, it's just, this is an Olympic-sized swimming pool that's 1 foot deep. there's nothing there. It's not even up to your ankles.
See, even at that though, it's gonna be hard to defend Anthem considering it's still running on Frostbite.
It's so many problems.
And one of the things that I'm just like so incredibly happy for right now is how well Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has been for Respawn.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that now.
That's running on the Unreal Engine and not Frostbite.
It should have been on Unreal. Frostbite has so many problems. Oh my goodness. It's such a computer killer, and it's optimization is a word it's never heard of.
Yeah. Well, it also sounds like that game has its issues, but not quite as bad as what Anthem launched with. Holy shit. I still remember
Anthem's got some problems.
I still remember like in that beta that the week beforehand jumping off a cliff. Nim was in chat. I jumped off a cliff and like I was trying to fly over to a waterfall off in the distance. And then it kept rubber banding me back to the cliff. And then it would like crash on me and there would be a long load time. I was like, I want to like you. Let me like you, please.
He was
this
so
is awful.
mad.
It's like the most triggered I've ever been.
Cliff sitting there looking at Dan like, you're going nowhere.
Oh, shit, dude.
I got you for 3 minutes. You got both by the cliff.
Oh my god.
I have never seen someone back out of a game so goddamn fast.
Yeah, so I think I spent like 15 minutes max in that beta.
Yeah, it's bad. It was bad. And you're right, man. It's like it's a game that it's like I want to like you. I want to like you so much, and like I can see beneath the surface somewhere down there. There's a game. Yeah, there's a game somewhere down there. But
dude, I remember playing the private invite that they sent out, and it was just like a small portion. Yeah, it was a private alpha.
Yeah,
and I remember I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be fucking amazing because the game looked beautiful. Like the mission structure that it was just that one little section was so fun.
Cool sandbox.
Yeah. You didn't have to leave that one little section though.
Yeah, exactly.
Had you left that one little section, you would have been like, Oh no.
Oh. Where's Mega when we need him? Oh no. Yeah.
By the way,
just
a quick response to Butt Coffee in chat. Get Fallen Order as soon as you possibly can. It is by far the best Star Wars experience that you will have. It's so good.
Maybe wait till next Friday because it's EA. Black Friday sales.
Black Friday, yeah.
Ooh, that's a good call. That's a good call.
Maybe save a couple bucks on it because I've heard nothing but good things about it. I spent a lot of time watching it. It looks like it's a really solid title.
Oh, it's amazing. So I bought it purely out of impulse, and I blame Disney Plus for that.
Thanks, Mandalorian.
Because I started rewatching like the old films, and then
you did it to yourself, man.
I did it to myself, and like it came out, and I was like, it was the night before. I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm working. I can afford this. I'm gonna buy it. I went in with absolutely zero expectations.
Yeah,
and the game just blew my mind. The animations, the way the story it's told, and the interactions of like the main character and the little robot in the middle of a mission, like it'll talk to one another. It's just a fantastic title. It's
some actual love put into it.
I literally I could not stop gushing about it for the first 72 hours because it's such an amazing game.
I keep hearing people talking about how soulsy it is, and I was like, man, I kind of.
So okay, if you're here, I'll say this because as someone who's been through Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, if you are a beginner to the Souls experience and the Souls game, this is a fantastic entry point because the game gives you difficulty options, and it's very forgiving even at normal. It's very forgiving. The Souls-like comparison comes in the sense of like there's meditation points throughout the open world where you level up basically, and if you want to get your health back or your potions, it's like a bonfire essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you die, whatever experience points you had, whatever killed you will take that experience, and you have to go back and find that particular enemy, kill it, and you'll get your experience back.
That's cool. Okay.
But it had a lot more customization than I was expecting. There's a pretty great skill tree that you can max out, and I'm not gonna get too into it, but let me just say, customizing your lightsaber, so good.
I'm all about that. I'm a KOTOR boy, and that was one of my favorite bits of that game.
Oh, you can customize every little bit of the lightsaber.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
That's fucking cool.
I'm in it.
It's so good. It's so unbelievably good, dude.
There we go. Good game choice for the month of November. If you're looking for something new to buy and play, Star Wars is a good option there. I've heard nothing but good things. Yeah. Nothing but. Well, all right. Is that the last question we had?
That was the last question.
The last question, the final tangent. That is going to be it for episode 219 of the Planet Destiny podcast. This has been a full one, boys. We made it to 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 whole hours. A lot of tangents we took on this episode. A lot of good conversations, though. I enjoyed it. Even the shots that Dan took at me. Now that I know he's an Anthem boy, too.
Yes.
I
also identify as an Anthem boy.
You're just acting out of hurt. I understand now, Dan.
I know.
See, I get it now, man.
I need to go to therapy for this hurt.
There's a lot of hurt to be had. But all right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. Of course, before we get on out of here for tonight, we are going to let you know where you can find us all across the internet. Starting with the man, the myth, the legend himself. The guy who takes great screenshots and makes videos exclusively for Twitter. What's up, buddy?
Hi. You can find me over at twitter.com/nemplays because I just don't have the will to stream anymore.
That wasn't a shot at you, by the way.
No, it's true. You're not wrong in any way, shape, or form. I don't. So I do what I can there. Yeah, that's twitter.com/nemplays if you want to talk to me. There you go. Boom. Dan, go.
Hi, my name is danfinity. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/danfinity, 4 days a week. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at danfinity, but the I's are L's. Not a lot going on this week. I would like to point out that our stream team member, Bo Solaris, is recovering as best he can. And if we can get a shout out for him in chat, please.
Absolutely.
That dude has gone through hell, and he deserves every bit of your thoughts still. And yeah, drop him follows. He's an excellent creator and just a really good dude. So please just go support that guy.
Yeah, Bo, I saw you there in chat earlier in the show, man. Right on. Keep fighting, brother. Good stuff. But of course, my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at The Black Link. This week, the usual stuff. We'll be covering all the Destiny news and whatnot over on the Planet Destiny YouTube channel. Might have some Call of Duty videos going up on my personal channel. I've been playing around with a few of those. In particular, I've got a new favorite weapon, and it is a 357 Magnum because I like my revolvers and they're fun to play with. And the one in Modern Warfare, it's a little silly, shall we say. It takes a while to max it out, but when you do, it gets a little silly. So we might have a video or two of that coming out. We'll see. But all right, everybody, that is it for episode 219 of the Planet Destiny podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you all next week. Bye, everybody. Don't go home alone.